They say you're either a Gumball or a Darwin, but I've always found myself to be a bit of a hot dog guy. With 5 seasons and over 186 episodes, The Amazing World of Gumball has become iconic for referencing moments from film, games, and pop culture, making each episode unique and layered. But you already knew that. Hey everyone, I'm Jacob with Channel Frederator, and we're back at it again with more Amazing World of Gumball references, so sit back and see if you caught any of these wild moments. Jumanji. In episode 29 of season 2, entitled The Game, while Darwin and Gumball clean up their room, they come across some crazy things. Living pizza, a fish skeleton, rest in peace Darwin the First, and a board game called Dodge or Dare. The boys try to ignore the literal call from the game to come play, but unfortunately their family has already begun to play it. This game is a pretty clear reference to the film Jumanji, which is about a magical board game that comes to life by bringing the danger of the game into reality. This is mimicked throughout the episode, but especially when Anais is burned by the floor after it turns into lava when she picks a dodge card. And this only fuels Darwin and Gumball's worry, and weirdly enough, they seem to be the only ones worried. Why are they the only ones worried when the floor can literally turn into lava? As more dodge cards are drawn, the rest of the family is plagued by dodge consequences, just like when Alan, Sarah, and the Shepherd siblings continue to play Jumanji and are attacked by the various enemies within the game. The Wattersons decide to stop playing, but just like the kids in Jumanji, they realize that the only way to end the madness is to win the game. While the Wattersons don't have to deal with swarms of monkeys or gun-wielding hunters, they do have to accomplish a bunch of crazy dares, which include things like driving the car from the back seat, being stuck in a freeze frame, and not being able to breathe. Luckily, they manage to roll the die and finish the game, and all of the consequences that plague them are reversed. Except for the damage done to the house, and the damage done to outside, and the damage done to their psyches. I wonder if insurance covers board games. Zombie references. You should always be prepared for the zombie apocalypse. It could happen at any time. The Gumball episode The Joy, which is episode 4 of season 3, parodies several iconic zombie tropes as Miss Simian tries to escape the Joy virus that has caused everyone in the school to become happy instead of miserable on a Monday. When Miss Simian watches the students from her office, she decides to put on some music, which happens to be Moonlight Sonata. Not a particularly upbeat song, but it's also the same music that plays a very important role in the Resident Evil video games. Miss Simian then uses a camera to record her findings of the Joy virus, the style of which is reminiscent of various found footage zombie films like Diary of the Dead or Quarantine or even RICK if you're a cool hipster who likes foreign horror films. When Miss Simian finds Anais crying, she assumes that she's not infected, but Anais's tears soon turn to laughter as she tries to attack, a similar scene to the crying witch in Left 4 Dead. Other zombie-like comparisons can be seen when Darwin and Gumball break out of quarantine and spread their virus through the school by walking around like zombies, arms outstretched and mouths open, brainless. The small difference is that they're only hugging their victims, but to Miss Simian, it might as well be the same thing as eating brains. It's almost as if Miss Simian would actually prefer zombie students to happy ones. The Iron Giant. Is your imaginary friend a giant shark creature with a robot claw and a Lego body? No? Well, that's because you're not Anais, Darwin, or Gumball. Season 3, episode 30, The Friend loosely serves as a throwback to the 1999 film The Iron Giant, as a socially awkward Anais is encouraged to create an imaginary friend after her brothers find out that she doesn't have any friends to invite to her birthday party. Darwin and Gumball help her create an imaginary friend, a giant creature called the Chimera, who also has no friends, and bonds with Anais as they both share shy tendencies, just like the Iron Giant and the film's protagonist, Hogarth Hughes. The Chimera's hand also detaches and wanders around just like the Giant's does in the film. When the kid's parents and the police discover that the Chimera is real, they become frightened and want to attack him, but the boys and Anais try to protect him. Eventually, spoiler alert, the Chimera sacrifices himself to protect the kids, just like the Iron Giant does in the film, and is destroyed in the process. But all of his pieces come back together, and he says goodbye to Anais, promising to come back to visit. If only he had said, "You stay, I go," but maybe that would have been too on the nose. Then again, this show isn't exactly known for its subtlety. Some decidedly non-boring TV and movie references in The Boredom. You ever have one of those days where there's just nothing to do, and then that day or month or year or lifetime or whatever just drags on forever? Yeah, that's what happens to Darwin and Gumball in episode 4 of season 5, The Boredom, as they walk around their town bored with nothing to do. But luckily, their friends run into a lot of fun references. Banana Joe gets asked by a clipboard man to find a use for a new product product, which is a lightsaber. Pretty sweet, right? The new uses for the weapon include a portable oven, an eye repair kit, and a nightlight to name a few. The lightsaber, however, is deemed useless and tossed into a dumpster with several other memorable sci-fi items such as the hoverboard from Back to the Future Part 2, the jetpack from The Rocketeer, and the endoskeleton arm from Terminator 2. Yeah, those all sound like useless things. Who needs those? Back at their house, Darwin and Gumball stare at the clock hoping it will move faster, but unknowingly their house is being moved by construction workers. As the house moves, outside the window we can see clips from some other Cartoon Network shows. Clarence, Regular Show, and Uncle Grandpa shuffle by, ignored by the boys. And at the end of the episode, after the boys walk into their house, a large white dragon that bears a resemblance to Falkor from the Neverending Story flies by and off into the sunset. I don't know, seems like a pretty normal, boring Tuesday to me. Ghostly horror. Your lunch is in danger! In the first season episode, The Ghost, Carrie Kruger, a depressed ghost and friend of Gumball and Darwin, possesses Gumball's body in order to be able to eat food again. Things start to get out of hand though, and end with a Carrie-possessed Gumball scaling the ceiling and twisting his head 180 degrees. This is likely a reference to the film Trainspotting, where during a drug-induced hallucination, Renton sees a baby scale the ceiling before spinning their head 180 degrees. Seriously, the movie is really heavy and really intense, but it's also great. This scene could also be a reference to The Exorcist 3, where a demon-possessed woman crawls on the ceiling, turning her head as well. Can anyone just keep their heads on straight? Do you get it? Because they turn their heads? Carrie herself, in ghost form, also closely resembles Boo from the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, and her last name is a nod to Freddy Krueger and all of his wicked deeds. In the end, Carrie apologizes to Gumball for possessing his body, and Gumball even lets her possess his dad for the occasional eating binge, which I'm sure he doesn't mind at all. The internet. The internet can be a beautiful but dangerous thing. Gumball learns this the hard way in the Season 2 episode, The Internet, when he becomes a meme after accidentally recording his reaction to a video and uploading it to their information superhighway. Gumball then decides that the only way to destroy all of the evidence of the video is to go into the internet by scanning himself. This parodies the way that the Terminator is sent back in time, including being naked and in a crouched pose. When that obviously fails, the boys decide to go confront the internet because, you know, that's totally a tangible thing, right? So when Gumball and Darwin do confront the internet, which seems to be an old 90s PC, they find out that his name is actually Timmy. Now this could be a sneaky reference to the Fairly Odd Parents episode Father Time, when Timmy goes back in time and accidentally causes the internet to be named Timmy. Could this universe be from that timeline? Share your theories in the comments below. In the end, Gumball agrees that cat videos are more important than his embarrassment and lets the internet continue on. Wise choice, my friend. Video games and books. Video games are shaping the youth of the world, or at least they were until the PTA of Darwin and Gumball's school banned video games. In episode 34 of season 4, The Blame, the boys crash the PTA meeting and attempt to plead their case as to why video games are good. Billy's mom Felicity says they have 3 chances to prove that video games are good, and with that decree, 3 hearts appear next to the boys to represent their chances, in the same way that health is managed in the Legend of Zelda games. Gumball first attempts to show his family a video game that closely resembles Wii Sports, controllers and background music and all. After his family dissolves into competitive chaos, Gumball loses a life, which combined with the death animation is specifically parodying the way Mario dies in the early Super Mario Bros. Titles as Gumball becomes pixelated and flies off the screen. Gumball then shows Banana Joe playing Brickland, aka Minecraft, as he builds a fireplace in a wooden house and then accidentally burns it down with his goats. Oh god, not the goats! Gumball is unable to sway Felicity, and she locks all of the kids in the library, where they sing Books Are Violent and reference many violent and quite disturbing popular books, such as a bunch of Shakespeare works, Little Red Riding Hood, Lord of the Flies, and more. The PTA then almost comes to the decision that they should become better parents and help teach their kids how to respond to the violence in video games and books, but instead they end up burning all of the books, which is a possible shout out to the dystopian novel about book burning, Fahrenheit 451. I guess people just get pretty heated when it comes to books and video games. Get it? Because heat and then fire, music, and The Shining. When Gumball and Darwin's favorite neighbor, Mr. Robinson, decides to move, the boys stop at nothing to sabotage the sale of his house, which includes some hilarious references. The boys' goodbye gift to Mr. Robinson is the song Never Gonna Let You Go, complete with costume changes and mood lighting, but their song is actually a parody of Greatest Love of All by George Benson, made famous by Whitney Houston. When their song fails to move him, the boys decide to spook the new buyers out of the house. There's a reference to The Shining when Richard breaks into the shed with a shovel and yells a version of Nicholson's iconic "Here's Johnny" line, instead saying "Daddy's coming." Halle Berry, Frozen, and dinosaurs. Passwords can be tricky, so in the season 2 episode The Password, when locked locked off the computer, Darwin and Gumball attempt to hack in. They're given the clue favorite child, and Gumball assumes it's him, but the password doesn't work. It then prompts Darwin to believe that it's him, which leads him into an emotional acceptance speech that sounds eerily familiar to when Halle Berry won her Oscar, saying through tears, "This moment is so much bigger than me." Unfortunately, his name isn't the key either. But their sister Anais is. This leads them to start competing to become the favorite child. It's tough competition though, since Anais can finish her father's sandwiches, just like Anna and Hans in Frozen. By the end of the episode, Gumball realizes that Anais had planned this all along and changed the original passwords just so that she could use the computer, to which Gumball says, "Clever girl." This is a direct line from the film Jurassic Park, said by Robert Muldoon before he was outsmarted and then eaten by a velociraptor. Well, she's no velociraptor, but Anais certainly knows how to outsmart the rest of her family. Real-life ripoff. Ever wonder what it would be like to meet another you? Well, Gumball and Darwin do when they meet their doppelgangers, Chi-Chi and Ribbit, in the Season 5 episode, The Copycats, as they find out their entire family and lives are being ripped off by someone else. This is a hilarious reference to what happened to the show in real life. The Amazing World of Gumball was shamelessly ripped off by a Chinese cartoon called Miracle Star, so of course the show decided to shamelessly poke fun at the copycats by putting them in the show. When the Watterson family finds out that these doppelgangers have their own show and are making money off of their lives, they start to get annoyed, and no one has more reason to than Anais, who isn't even a character on their show. This is true about Miracle Star as well, most likely due to China as a nation having a two-child policy. Knowing that they won't stop copying them, the Wattersons begin to do increasingly dangerous things and end up in a flaming truck that's about to fly off a cliff, as do the copycat family. Luckily, the Wattersons have something the other family doesn't, Anais, and she's able to save the day and rescue her family. Things don't turn out so great for the doppelgangers, though. Guess they should have kept the little sister, and that's why you don't plagiarize, kids, because then the original creators will take what you stole and then put it back in their show and then throw them off a cliff. Morals. And those are all the references for now. I'm Jacob, and thanks for watching more Amazing World of Gumball references. Did you like our picks? Did you have a favorite? Comment below to let us know. We have new videos dropping every day, so make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to smash that bell icon to become part of our notification squad. And remember, Frederator loves you.